And now in this little bit of lesson we're going to talk about some tuples, and we're going to create a list of the most common words and find out how to sort a dictionary by the values instead of by the key. We're going to use the clown.txt file and the intro.txt file. And I'm going to start with the code from exercise 9 that I just did from chapter 9. It's not exactly one of the exercises, but it's very similar to them. And I'm going to make a copy, and I'm going to keep it in the same folder. I'm going to keep it in the EX09 folder and just call it EX10 because this code is going to do much of the same stuff, and it's going to read these same files. And so I've got myself exercise 10. Exercise 9 is still here. Exercise 10 is now what I'm editing, exercise 10. But I'm in the exercise 9 folder. So in exercise 9, we look for the most common word, but we want to find the 5 most common words, which is going to require us to sort. So I'm going to get rid of that code because it's not really how we're going to do it. There we manually looped through it and found the maximum. And so I'm going to just run this. cd desktop python for everybody ex09. And if I do an ls, you see that I've got ex09.py intro.txt. So I'll run python 3 ex10.py and run the clown data, and we see the dictionary, and it's properly making it in this code right here. That doesn't change. It reads the file, reads all the lines, goes through and splits it into words, and then goes through the words and does the idiom of using dictionary get to maintain the counters, and we print it out at the very end. So the new code we're going to write is down here. Okay? So let's first do a few things. If I can say x is equal to the dictionary dot items, and this gives us basically a list, print x. This gives us a list of the key value pairs. This prints out the dictionary, but if we do it this way and use items, it gives us the key value pairs. Okay, and so that's what we got. Key value pairs. Now, we can sort this based on the value because tuples can be compared. This can be compared with this, and because D is lower than R, then this one is lower. This ran tuple comes after the down tuple. So we can sort this whole thing. And I'll do this by just putting the word sorted here and say, give me a sorted version of that. Now it's going to do it based on the order of the tuples. This is going to be higher precedence than this. So if I print it this way, run it again, you'll see that it's sorted. And now is after and car, it's in alphabetical order by key. And so we could actually print the first 5 up to but not including 5 by adding a list on the slice, a list slice here. And so that will show you only the first 5, right? Except that that's not what we're trying to do. We really want to sort by this. Okay? So we have this mechanism that can take a list and sort it based on the tuple values. If we could create a list where it was 1 comma after instead of after comma 1 and make it the exact same thing, then we could actually then sort it and it would be fine. Okay? So let me show you a couple of ways, at least one way to do that. Okay? Get rid of this. We're going to hand construct a list, and just call it temp equals, give me a new list, temp equals new list, and then for k comma v in the dictionary.items, and I'll just start by printing k comma v, so we see, and this is where it's really nice to do these with the clown code first and then only do your test on the bigger file later. And so it's pretty much the same thing. We are going through in key value order, which is dictionary order, which is not sorted at all. Okay. Now, instead of printing this out, we are going to, let me do this in a couple of steps. Make a new tuple, and we'll just call it newt equals parenthesis v comma k. Okay, so this is, I'm saying make a new tuple. This is like a new tuple with 2 items in it, and I'm going to make the value for and the key, the key. Okay, so Then I'm going to say temp.append new tuple. So I'm going to end up with a list of tuples. Let me comment this one out, and I'm going to then, when I'm done here, I'm going to print temp. So if I run clown.txt, you see what happens in temp. It's still, well, let's print temp twice. I mean, it's not sorted, it's flipped. Let's print it. Well, that's okay. That's the flipped one. Okay, so it's flipped, and all we did is we made it, instead of car comma 3, it's 3 comma car. But now we have a list. Okay, so now it's flipped, and now we can sort that. We can say temp equals sorted temp. So it says takes temp and sort it and give it back to me, and now I'm going to say print sorted comma temp. Okay, so here's the first print. When we flipped it, we've got 2 tent, but it's not sorted at all. But after we sorted it, it's sorted by tuple, and the lowest is 1 after, so you'll notice that 1 is the same as 1, so it checked the second item in the tuple, so down comes before after. Fell becomes after down. Intro, on, alphabetical order, but now we get the 2's, so that all the 1's sort there, and then the 2's come here, but then within the 2's it's sort in alphabetical order, because like a string, if the first character matches, then it looks to the second character, and then we see, oh, here we go, the 3's, and then the one we actually wanted, the highest one, is the 7. And so one of the things we can do is we can say, you'll notice that we want the highest one, not the lowest one. So we can just tell this with this parameter, reverse equals true. And we just say, hey, sorted, do this backwards. Do it from highest to lowest rather than lowest to highest. And now our sorted one says 7, the, etc. Okay? And so if we want the first 5, we can say up to, but not including 5. So this is now the top 5. So the sorted one that's the top 5. If it's a tie, we're going to go in reverse alphabetical order, but let's not worry about that too much for now. So it makes a flipped list, then it sorts the flipped list. Now, if I just wanted to print it out nicer, I could loop through this new list. I could say for v comma k. Remember, this is a flipped list, so the sensible thing is what's coming out of this list. Each tuple is value comma key in temp, and I'm only going to go up through, but not including 5. So the first 5, and so I'm pulling them back out as value key because that's what they are. They're value key. See, value key, value key, value key. So v is going to go through these, and k is going to go through these, and then I'm just going to print k comma v. So this is kind of my flipping backwards because I want to see them this way. And thus the most common one, car 3. And so it's just going through this up through the 5th one and then printing them out. Okay? So let me comment this out. Let me comment that out. Let me just delete this. So we have a dictionary. Let me comment out the dictionary. We have a dictionary, we make a list, and we make these reversed tuples where we have the value first and the key second. We're setting it up so the sort's going to work. And then once it's sorted, we have to flip them back. So we flip them for sorting from key value to value key for sorting. We do the sort, then we flip them back with key value and print them out. And it works fine. So let's try our big file, intro.txt, and there you go. Those are the 5 most common words in intro.txt. So you might ask yourself, why did we use tuples? We could have really used lists for this, but tuples are more efficient than lists, and you notice that we weren't going to modify. We did modify the temp list. It's a list of tuples, but the tuples within the list we weren't going to modify. And so we tend not to make lists if we can get away with using tuples. And so that's why we made this this flipped tuple thing. Okay? So I hope that was useful to you. Hope to see you on the net.